there are no free NFTs. I'm sorry, but like, please click on the links and fill them. Thank you. So you can get started.
Okay, thank you, John, for the intro. So as product designers, we want to know that our design has made some impact. And how do we even measure this impact? How do you know that our design is a success, basically? So understandably, a lot of designers may not have experience connecting design with business growth. I personally don't have a lot of experience in this area, but it's something that we would really like to talk about, just to get us familiar with a few of the what happens like post design. That's why today we'll be talking about how to measure success metrics in design. So this is our agenda for today. We're talking about defining goals, determining an action plan, outlining success criteria, getting access to data, how to get this data for your design, some key takeaways and resources. So down to business, defining goals. Now, one of the earliest steps sorry, is that can I go on?
Yes, you can go on.
Okay, so part of one of the earliest steps when starting out a design project is defining your goals and objectives. Now, a design project with set goals helps to give users a sense, not users, sorry, helps to give the design team or you as a designer a sense of direction. So that way you can know where you're starting from and what point you're trying to reach. Now, these goals could be based on user needs and it could also be based on business goals. So you'd want to, however, break down these goals into units you can measure. For instance, now, let's say you have a streaming app and your goal is to increase the number of streaming, or let's say increase the number of streaming in your app. To break this down into units you can measure, you'd want to perhaps measure the unique number of people who view your website, the unique number of people who search for a particular song, and the unique number of people who stream a song. So these are units of like this is breaking down your goals into units that can help you measure them afterwards to know if it's a success or not. And so many other ways. So the next step after defining your goal is to determine an action plan. Now, you agree with me that a goal is just a goal if you don't have an action plan to achieving that goal, right? So you'd want to now brainstorm ideas that could help you or your team accomplish that particular goal. For example, let's assume you have an app and you want users to be able to spend more time on your app. You would want to to achieve that goal, your action plan would be to make your app more engaging and more enjoyable to use. Another example could be an app where people book hotel rooms. Let's say your goal for that app is to increase the number of people booking a hotel room. Now, your action plan could be to reduce the length of the booking process so that your app is more so this makes the process for booking a hotel room more efficient. So regardless, so far we've discussed how to create a goal, how to break that goal into units you can measure, and also how to create an action plan for your goal. So every step of the way, I want you to know that you have to document each of these steps so you can be able to keep track of each of them at the end. The next step down the road will be to outline success criteria. Now, success criteria are the standards used to judge if your design has been successful. It helps you know if your goals have been achieved. Now, for the purpose of this presentation, I'll be discussing some ways to track your success. One of the first ways would be the Google Hat.
Okay. I'm sorry to cut you, but please can you do full screen instead of this, so it can be visible to everyone? You said?
I think this is the full screen.
Okay. Thanks. You carry on, please.
All right. Okay. So I find 2 ways to track success using the Google Hat framework and also using a set of common key performance indicators. So first up, we're talking about the Google Hat framework. I don't know if you're familiar with this concept, but it's a commonly used criteria by most companies or teams, design teams, to help them track success. Now, the HAT is an acronym for happiness, engagement, adoption, retention, and task success. Now, for happiness, you want to know if people are happy using your app. How do they feel when they're interacting with your app? For product engagement, you want to focus on how people are using your products. Are they engaging with your content? Is your content keeping them interested or engaged? Like, how are they interacting with that content for your products? And for product adoption, you want to know if new users are signing up for your app. How many users are you getting over a specific period of time? How many people are creating accounts on your product or your service or registering for your service over a specific period of time? Now, for product retention, you want to be able to know how many people are still using your product, either weekly, monthly, yearly. You want to track the amount of active users over a particular period of time that's set by you. So, and finally, the task success is used to check the number of complete actions that a user is able to make while using your product. Let's say a complete task could be process of signing up, process of booking something, the process of something else. How are they able to complete that task or any other task on your site? How easy is it to complete it? So this is what the framework basically entails. So on the next slide, choose an example of what the framework looks like in a business, a business. So on the left hand side, you can see the what the HAT, the acronym listed out at the left, and then you have the goals, the signals, the metrics. So now the goals are simply what I mentioned earlier, how you define your goals, what you want based on your product or what you want your design to do. The signals, again, are the units of measurement I talked about earlier, how you break down your goals into units you can be able to measure. And the metrics is a way to track those units you've used to measure. For example, product happiness. Your goal will be for users to find the app helpful, fun, and easy to use. And how can you break this down into units you can measure? You can check how they are responding to surveys. Are they leaving 5-star ratings? Are they leaving user feedback? And you can track this using something called Net Promoter Score. Net Promoter Score is used to measure customer loyalty and satisfaction. It's a metric used to measure that. And you can also use customer satisfaction rating and the number of 5-star reviews people leave on your products. For customer engagement, your goal might be for users to enjoy the app's content and keep on engaging with your product. Now, you can break this down into a unit you can measure, such as how much time are they spending on my app. Then you can track this using the session length and average session. Average session length is the amount of time people spend on your products, while using your products. This is something you can track as well. Then product adoption. Your goal there is for new users to use your products. How can you break this down into something you can measure? How are people downloading the app? How many people are signing up for an account? How many people are using a new feature? For example, let's say a new feature for your app could be read receipts. You want to check how many people are using this read receipt feature. Are they turning it off? Are they turning it off? How many people have adopted this new feature in their use? So the metric you can use to measure this is download rates. How many people are downloading your app? Registration rates. How many people are signing up for your product, for your service? And the feature adoption rate. How many people are using this particular feature we just released? Also, the retention. As much as you want new users, you also want to check that the users you currently have are still staying on or using your products. So now your goal is for users to keep coming back to use your products. Now, you can break this down into units you can measure by how many people are by checking how many people are staying active on the app or using your app actively, how many people are using or renewing their subscription on your product, how many people are making purchases over and over again. Now, think of it this way. For example, you are subscribed to YouTube Music app. You subscribe this month, the next month you subscribe, and the following month again you subscribe. Like you subscribe over a period of 3 months and even more. It means like you really love that. It shows like a higher retention rate on your part because like you've used that app, you continue using that app actively and over time. So you can measure it based on churn rate. Churn rate is the amount of people who stop subscribing to your product. So you can measure the amount of people who stop subscribing. You can measure the amount of people who continue to subscribe to your product or your service. So, and finally, is talk about task success. You want people to complete certain tasks in your apps or your product, sorry. And you can measure this based on how they're able to find and view content quickly, how they're able to complete tasks quickly. The metric you can measure is, for example, search exit rate and crash rate, for example. So other key indicators you can also use to check success is the completion rate, is the amount of people who are able to complete a task on your product successfully. The error rates, and average number of errors, they entail like the amount of errors users make while completing a task on your product. Also, time on task, the amount of time it takes users to complete a particular task, and ease of completion tells you how easy users were able to complete that particular task. So, how do we get access to data that can help us? Sorry. Next step is getting access to data. So data helps us measure design success, helps us to make better informed decision. Now, understandably, it may be hard for a lot of designers to get real-time data that helps them make better design decisions and measure the impact of their design. And also, a lot of companies, by the way, have data analytics platforms that help them measure certain metrics. So these metrics help them to make informed design decisions. Now, quite a number of them, you make use of Google Analytics. I don't know if you're familiar with it, Google Analytics, but it's an analytics software that helps to track specific details on a site or a product. So, but I want you to know that although this data tells you only what is happening on your site. For example, it can tell you this is the amount of time people are spending on your site. Maybe it could be a short time or a longer time. For example, maybe a short time or longer time. It doesn't exactly tell you how to fix that problem. It only tells you that this is what is happening. So now, how do we get this data that is needed? How do we get data that is needed to make these design decisions? We can do that in several ways. First of all, these data like sources that can be categorized into qualitative measurement and quantitative measurements. Example of quantitative measurement is the analytics software. It gives you more of an overview of what is going on and nothing in depth. Why the qualitative measurement gives you more in-depth feedback on what is really going on with your product. So whether this is a new or existing product, some data sources could include beta programs, customer support emails, social posts and forums, product reviews, customer interviews, analytics software. So I'm going to be explaining a few of what this entails, so maybe you can get an idea of how data can be gotten from these sources. The first up is beta programs. So beta programs, like before, the company is trying to release an app, for example, and then they put it on the app store. Before they put it on the app store and then they're saying they're looking for beta testers. I mean, this is like a small group of people who are willing to test out an app before it is released to the general public. So in the process of this testing, it's called the beta program. Is the testing period. These testers help the company they help them by sending them in-depth feedback based on their interactions with the app. So once this is done and the company has received the feedback it needs, before the app is then iterated based on the feedback and then released to the general public. So this is one way to get data. Then I'm going to be combining these customer support emails, social posts and forums and product reviews into one because they're almost similar. So one customer support email is like you sending a support ticket. Hey, okay. Hey, I'm using your product and this is not working. This is not working. I need help to fix this. This is like you send a request to the company support team, or even on social posts and forums like social media like Twitter or Facebook, or even forums like Quora and Reddit. You may think no one is listening or watching when you make a comment about a brand, about the problems you've had while using that brand. But like I think these companies are watching because they probably have a software that helps them monitor like when their brand name has been mentioned on social post, and then they can check what people are saying about their products. And then this even product reviews as well. For example, you've seen on the App Store, on the Play Store, how people like drop reviews after interacting with apps, and then tell like maybe they have a problem while using the app, and then they drop back those feedback as reviews. So you can take all this information and categorize them based on commonly like common complaints basically, and try to use this to like as a feedback to work on iterating your design and hear from people what is going on and try to fix that. In customer interviews, and this is just basically talking to a group of people, a focus group or specific individuals chosen to be interviewed. These individuals have already been interacting with this product regularly, so they are interviewed to get more data on their experience, and this is used to measure what was a success, what went wrong, and how to make things better. So finally, the analytics software. Analytics software like Google Analytics again, you use it to measure a lot of metrics and indicators on how your product is performing. So here's an example of what a Google Analytics dashboard looks like. It doesn't say a lot. Like this is just a page I picked randomly from the internet, but there are a lot of metrics here that I would like to explain a bit, so you can get an idea of how this metric can help you with impacts, like help you take your design success and make your design better. So for example, we have here the bounce rate. Bounce rate tells you, bounce rate basically is the percentage of visitors who load your page and then leave without interacting with anything on your site. For example, like they're literally bouncing off your site because they don't find anything helpful on that site. Now, if you have a poor bounce, like if you have a high bounce rate, for example, it means that your website is performing poorly because people are not finding your content useful, or maybe the navigation is poor, or your click to actions are not obvious, or something else. Maybe the navigation is terrible. Like it tells you, if high bounce rate tells you that people are not finding your content good enough, so then you start to think, how can I make my content more engaging? How do I make it so that people are finding this useful? Also, the next one there is page view. Page view helps you measure the number of times a user visits your website, for example. Also, session length is like the amount of time people spend on your site, interacting with your site. And average time on site measures how long visitors spend on your particular web page. It can be an indicator of how engaging your content is, for example. So the longer you can hold visitors, it means that your content is better and like you have your product has good quality. So the other things you can track on Google Analytics, like the conversion rate. It tells you if visitors are completing tasks on the site, maybe like signing up for a product, signing up for a free trial, signing up, filling a form, downloading a content offer, and so many other things. Analytics also help you track like this now. This is telling you how many, what's the percentage of users, like what platforms your users are using to access your product. For example, there are higher users for desktop here than mobile and tablets. So it tells you the demographic of your users. Where are they based? Are they based in America? Are they based in Nigeria? What cities are they based in? What gender is your primary audience? What age group are viewing your site the most? Like it tells you a lot of all that. What traffic sources are you getting most of your data from? So like there's a lot of like metric you can track with an analytics platform. Yeah, so this analytics software help you track key performance indicators that help you know how people are using your products. They tell you how your product is performing, what parts of your product processes are a success, and what parts need more work. Now, as a product designer, you're not expected to know how to use this kind of analytics software. I think mostly most companies have data analysts that are able to prepare reports for the research team or something like that. But it's still nice to be able to learn how to interpret data like this. So this is another example of a tracked report. For context here, this is a report for a site that for a hotel booking site. Now, for this report, it is tracked from the date January 12th to 18th. And as you can see here, this chart here shows the, again, like I said, it's for a hotel booking platform. You know, hotel, when you're trying to book a hotel, there are a lot of forms you have to fill. Not a lot of forms, but like there's a form you have to fill before you get your booking confirmation. So for this one, this is the amount of people here who enter their contact info. That's like 48,000 people. This is the amount of people here who enter their payment info. That's 38,000 people. And this is the amount of people who got a booking confirmation. So from here, these are people that started the form at the initial stage. There are 48,000 people. And these are the amount of people that ended up completing the task, 24,000 people. So you can see like at least half of the people who started did not get to the finish point. You know, this data tells you a lot that perhaps there's a problem with your form, perhaps the process is too long or something else might have happened. So you want to go back to your design and check what actually went wrong and how can I fix this, and make sure that a lot of people are actually getting to complete that process. So this is how data actually works here. Helps how you can interpret the data and how to measure the impact of your design. So takeaways for our discussion. If you've noticed, this whole process feels like your regular product design phase. Like it feels that way because the design process is a cycle. Basically, you identify problems, you solve them, you test your solution, and then you're going back to the start again. So it's like a cycle. But the major difference here is that you've already created goals you've tried to reach. For example, like I said earlier, the goals where you want to get users to use it, like engage your users more, or you want to make a better usability, like make better experience for your apps, or increase number of streams or something else. Those are goals. And then you're not checking it to see that, okay, did I meet this particular goal? Did I meet this? Did I meet that? How can I make this a success? And so on. So when you design, one of the main things stakeholders will be looking for is how much impact your design has made. It's not just stakeholders checking for this information. Anyone reading your case study basically wants to know that your design has made some impact. And without the needed data, you can't be able to, it might be hard to identify areas of impact and how to improve on your design. So I hope you've learned how to be able to get access to this data that can help you make informed decisions. So in the end, you want to make sure that your design is able to help business growth, be able to save the business time and money, and you want to make sure that customers are satisfied. So this is where we wrap up the discussion. I came across a few resources, and I thought it would be nice to read up on this to be able to learn more about how to measure success from your design. Thank you all for listening. Okay, if you have any questions, I would love to hear them.
Okay, so if you have any question, please you can raise up your hand and you can speak or ask a question. So if you don't want to do that, you can send it on the chat box. Okay, so it looks like no one has questions. Is that it?
Hello?
All right. Listening. Please
Hello?
introduce yourself, then you can ask a question.
My name is Precious.
Okay.
Thank you for this session, Julian. I wanted to ask, so what if you are bidding for an app that doesn't collect user data? Are there other ways to measure success metrics?
Sorry, what do you mean by an app that doesn't collect user data?
Okay, so there are some apps that you download and it doesn't require you to put to register. It doesn't require an account for you to set up. Probably something as basic as a calculator, but there are some other apps in that category.
Okay.
Am I making sense?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Based on what I know, I think there are apps like, for example, like some data sources some place you can get data. Like for example, if it's an app, there can be reviews on the app. Maybe somebody might post up a usability error, or maybe it's dev related. But if it's an app, they probably leave app reviews, so that could be a source of data. And also, again, maybe somebody like the social post or forums, somebody might post a review on there and be like, okay, I used this and it didn't work for me, or something like that. That could also be a source of data. I mean, I think that's how some of that data can be gotten.
Okay. So that means in this case now, it wouldn't be statistical data. It's more of feedback from users, so to say.
Yeah, there can be statistical data. I mean, there are apps like apps can be like tracked. Like you can measure how people are using you can track how people are using your app or interacting with it. So you can also measure that statistically.
Okay.
There are software that help you track how people use your apps. Like what pages are they moving? Like what screens are they interacting with? And some stuff like that. I think there are softwares, but I'm not familiar with those. But I know they are.
Okay. Sharon would like to add to the answer. Please, you can add. You can
Hi,
introduce.
guys.
Yeah.
Good evening, guys. So I think she has like answered. I wanted to point out to Precious that when she was talking about the frameworks, right? She talked about the heart framework used by Google. And one of the things that they track is engagement. So for products like that do not require people to sign up, you can actually track or measure engagement, right? You can define what those engagements are. It could be, let's say for a forum, for example, engagements could be like maybe people can like without necessarily signing up. Maybe people can share stuff without necessarily signing up. Maybe people can download. I think like one of these sites where we download books from, you can actually download books without signing up. So you can track engagement to the number of books downloaded, right? That can be something that you can track as engagement. And the higher downloads you have, it means the more people are using your product. So it's just being able to define, okay, what does engagement mean for this specific product, since we would not be having people sign up, and then you're just able to track that with like any tool that you want to use to track that. In addition to the other things that Juliet said.
Thank you for adding to that.
Thank you.
Okay. You can keep the questions coming in, please. So you just raise up your hand and just ask the questions that you want to ask. Okay. It seems like there are no questions. So Julia did justice to this question. Okay. There's one. Okay. Please ask the question.
Hi, good evening. So, I want to ask this question. As a designer here, for depending on the organization, I would want to start from there. There are certain people who themselves track and keep track of the data that would need to that yeah, things like engagement and drop rates and um stuff like that. So most oftentimes I feel they are coming from the point of driving revenue rather than having to solve the problem for a particular user. So what direction would you give as a designer, that I should look for to try to help to solve user problems as opposed to just trying to increase engagement or revenue most times? Like the problem that users seem to be having recurring the most, what should I look out for or what should I be looking for as a designer to try to solve? I'm sorry, did anyone get my question?
I lost it at some point. Please, can you repeat it again?
Okay, sorry. So I want my question is, as a designer, what should I look for as in terms of trying to find the success metrics to improve on a particular solution that is already on ground? Because certain companies have people allocated to tracking that kind of data, right? But I feel at that point they are looking at it from a revenue point of view rather than a solution point of view, which can actually increase then again, the overall need is to increase the engagements. But how can I look at it from a solution point of view? Like what advice can you give as a designer to look out for?
A question was asked on the chat box. Can you please check it out, Rene, if that's what you're talking about? Also, if there's anyone on this call that would love to answer that question, please. We're all here to learn.
Yeah, maybe has his hands up.
Okay.
Yeah, it's usability data, not really business data, because the product so far it's half usable in my opinion. I mean, from my perspective, so it's usability data actually.
Okay, so
Okay.
all right, I'm
Sorry.
listening. Yeah, please.
The basic work of as a designer is for you to make research. So in as much as it's business the business will love to make revenue, also the business user needs is also a business problem, and you need to make sure that you're making the right research to be able to hear from the customers firsthand what is their experience with the products, and based on the experience you can come up with solutions on how to solve that. And this data that is being tracked is not just for the business alone. It's also you can also use that data to measure usability.
All right, thank you very much.
Wait, does that answer your question though? Like, is that, or do you need more clarification?
Yeah, I would really. I mean, I get the research part, but like, what really should I look out for? Because now the product seems. I mean, we in-house we understand how the product works, but our users they seem to have a lot of issues, and we keep going through the whole process over and over again, trying to make the process easier. But for users, it seems like there is still a problem. So I just wanted to know, aside from this, okay, what direction of research should I probably look for? I think that.
Well, first of all, you said the users are always having problem. Have you been able to reach out to the users to hear from them on what issues they're having specifically?
Yeah, we do that. Although I don't think we've not done that in a, how will I put it, a user feedback kind of view. I mean, we do that from basically we do that from Google reviews most times. I mean, we get our information on Google Play Store. They give certain pointers to why they're having issues on certain places, but we've not had like a one-on-one or a group session where we bring in users that actually use the app to actually know what the issue is.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Derry. Hi, Juliana. Hi, John. This is Killer, by the way. So I guess the final thing you said is what I wanted to mention. That have you done a heuristic evaluation? Have you gotten some of the users as representatives, brought them into a room, watch them use the app, find out what the friction points are, and then try to solve? I think so. That's what Juliana meant by research. So that is still part of the research. It's just at a different stage of the process. You already have a product. You're trying to improve the product. you still have to do your usability research and run your heuristic evaluation. Basically, how do people use it? Like, how do they take shortcuts within the app? Because users will always do what they feel comfortable doing. The product never really perfectly attuned to every single user's mental model of how they would rather use a product. It's usually like a compromise, a middle ground for as many of your users you have. So there will always be some people who have issues. If you notice that it's something that keeps coming up, you should definitely look into it, bring them in. If you can't bring them in, you can run it virtually. And if you can't run it as a one-on-one virtually, you can use Hotjar, some of the things Juliana mentioned, to maybe do A/B testings where you have like 2 different designs of a particular screen and see which one your users use better. Yeah, that's it for me.
He also talked the way he was talking. He made it sounded like he didn't have access to the users. Perhaps he said they mostly got reviews from the App Store or something like that. So what's your suggestion for him? I don't know. Is that right? I call you Ron.
Yeah, you're right. So yes,
So I think
you're
that's
right.
where it's coming from. Not having access to those users.
Hi guys. Hi guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So this is Shy One. So one of the things you can do, Ronnie, is first of all you can do something called benchmarking, right? You can benchmark different parts of your product, and you can do this in several ways. One, if you're actually tracking or measuring, let's take signing up for example. Do a rough down the hall testing with people in your office, right? And then take down the average time it takes your colleagues to sign up. And if you're tracking, try to see if you can track sign-ups from your customers and then compare what the average looks like for your colleagues in the office and for the average customer. That might start giving you some idea of, okay, does it take customers longer to sign up? If it takes customers longer to sign up, then it means there's something wrong with your sign-up process. I think one of the issues that you have, one of the problems you're facing is actually pinpointing where customers are having issues. So one of the ways to do this is by benchmarking, right? Secondly, something else you can do, and this might not be by the book, but it's a trick that I have learned over time. If you have some idea of who your customers are, your demographics, your archetypes, whatever that you guys use to categorize your customers, you can do a rough guerrilla testing, right? Just go to any public place, to the cinema, to the beach, any public place, look for people that you think fit into your customer demography and tell them, hey, do you have like 5 minutes of your time? I am a product designer. I work at XYZ place. I'm building XYZ product and I just want to test it out. Is this something that you have some time to do? It will just take 5 minutes or it will just take 10 minutes. I will give you a 500 naira recharge card or I will buy popcorn for you or something, right? Sometimes you don't even have to give them anything. Just they would actually pick interest, and then you can just test with random people. This is fast and rough, and you don't have to wait for anybody in your office to give you permission. It's something that you can do over a weekend on your own and come back with that data to the office and present to your people, right? I've done that a couple of times and it has worked. Another thing you can do is, it was in my head, it just escaped my head. Oof. Yeah, another thing you can do is look for maybe similar products and also like benchmark with similar products, see what their experience is like, right? See how long it takes to sign up on. If For instance, it's a loan app. You want to look at other loan apps, see how long it takes for you to sign up on other loan apps, see what they ask, see how what their experience looks like, see what their information architecture looks like, see what their various features and user flows look like, and try to put that side by side with what you have. That might also give you some idea on what you're doing well and what you're not doing well. Other things you can do include sending out maybe surveys or questionnaires to your customers. Shameless plug, this might be where Spire comes in. But yeah, I think these are some of the things you can do that you do not necessarily need to wait for resources from your workplace. You don't have to wait for resources from your workplace to do some of these things. Also, something else you can do is on your own, you can pick out you can sit to your product manager and then you guys can pick out key actions or key features that you want people to use. And then you guys can just tear that down, do like a heuristic evaluation, use the 12 heuristics to evaluate some of those things, see how well you check the boxes, and those things just help bring more clarity into the problems that you might be having and how you might go about solving them. I hope my answers have been helpful to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Taiwan, Caleb, and Juliana. Thank you.
You know, maybe would like to add to this, and brother, I saw the name, brother something, but yeah, we don't maybe please go on.
All right. Hi guys. Good evening. I hope you all can hear me clearly.
Yes,
So
yes.
yeah, so I think the first thing, since it's an existing product, the assumption I'm going in to answer this question is that like from the onset of the products that you probably defined and have an understanding of who your audience is. But say, for example, you join a team and like there's an existing product and you're working on it and you don't have access to all the data, and then you need, data on what's going on. So I believe like most of the things already shared during the talk can provide information in terms of analytics, like Google Analytics, the app analytics. I believe that there's analytics data from Apple and Google to provide like what's happening and like shoots. You can also use Spire to collect information, and depending on the other analytics, I know that most apps have embedded analytics, so to a large extent those help. There's also important data that you can get from teams outside the design team. So, for example, if it's a product company, you have customer representative or customer facing team that receive customer requests, feedback from customers, and all of that. You have a growth team slash marketing team. And there's a lot of data you can get from those guys that will give you deep insights on how the product is doing. For example, the growth team who are promoting the product, I know that oftentimes they actively track which of the channels do they access the product from the most, and what are their activities on the product, which pages or screens or whatever, depending on if it's a web app or an Android, whatever native platform the app or software is, they always have access to those data. And those, like, doing a research that would uncover that deep data might not be part of what you would have done in your user research. So it's usually helpful to cultivate a relationship with the growth team, cultivate a relationship with the marketing team, cultivate a relationship um with the customer rep. Like, different companies have different names for it, but people that do customer service and all of that, because they're the ones that get the emails, they're the ones that get the support tickets. Even like a very strong relationship with the tech team, because sometimes there are bugs that get reported that goes to the tech team, and you as a designer might not hear about it. So it does help that in my context there's an open communication where I work, so I have access to most of those things, but it might not be the same everywhere. So I guess having access to that would really help. For example, we're working on a product recently, and I came across data that was quite helpful. And how I came across to that was I reached out to the growth team and I told them this is what we're working on. What do you think? And they just shared the screen from Google Analytics that I've not seen before that actually shows how people navigate the product. And I had not seen that before. And that is like real-time data, of how people use the product. That's because people like even from my experience working in healthcare, people will lie to your face. Like sometimes you can do user interview and people would not want to look stupid or want to look like they don't know how to use the product. So they might lie about their experience, right? But one of the surest way to see what people are actually doing is getting your hands on the raw analytics data. For example, if you ask everyone here to open a search history and all of that, we would all hide it, right? People are sometimes private about how they behave online, but the analytics would, give you a hint in that. So having access to like having a relationship with the growth team, marketing team, all of those guys does help. And as much as possible, you need to like train yourself to be a good researcher and good at gleaning insights from data. So it's not just seeing data, but figuring out why people are behaving certain ways on different aspects of the product. So, like I said, it's not just about seeking relationship with those other teams to get data from them. Seek help to understand the data as well. You can ask them for their insights, ask them for even if it's the person that received the customer service call. Don't feel I'm the designer and I'm the god. Like, don't look down on anyone. Everybody is important and you're all shooting in the same goalpost. So those are my 2 cents in addition to every other thing that has been said. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Domebi. Brother Damie, are you here?
Yeah. Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, so I'd want to just share my 2 cents as Jumebi has said, and this would be in the place of reviews. Now, this thing is this in terms of your product being an existing product, product reviews plays a major role in getting user feedback from your product, in the sense that apart from tracking your future metric quad, I've actually worked on a product where I was put in charge of getting data from what users were saying under an existing product. And one thing I noticed about people are these two things, is that people are very expressive behind the keyboard. Nobody's there to beat them for what they say. Nobody's there to hold their neck if they use curse or abusive words. I'm sure we're very used to that on Twitter already. And the other thing I noticed is that people are very eager to vent, be it good, be it bad, especially it being bad. Nobody will hide the fact that your product is bad from you. They will be very eager to vent, because I've had to work with customer care, so I know people are very eager to vent. So that leaves them so that leaves you with raw data. That means data coming from people's anger or people's happiness, and that's where the place of product reviews comes into place. So in as much as the company is not manipulating reviews, because I've seen situations where the company will say workers should get their phone and just say nice things about the product. So in as much as the company is not the one manipulating the reviews on an existing product, we should be able to get tangible data from users, because users if when users use your product and they see that they are not getting through to the design team, let me put it that way, because they are not, like, the things they want are not being seen, or the things they want on the site are not being implemented, rather. So they'll need a place to vent, and that's where we have the review section of app, or the rating system. So that's like a gold mine for data also, if it is used well by the team. So that's like my 2 cents on that.
Thank you so much, Brother Damie. the maybe Zan is still up. So we are trying to end this session in few minutes. So if you have any add-on, please do that now, and we should call it a day. But for me, this session, I feel Julia did a lot of justice to it, and if we have more questions, we we can always reach out to anyone that answered. To maybe Shy One, Julia, or Caleb. Who they share the money. No one they share the money. So uh eh, if there's anyone that would like to add anything, please let's do that now so we can end the session.
Yes, please. I want to add something. I'm actually it's not related to the question, guys. Please, we have a feedback form, and we really just want to get like feedback on this session. Would appreciate if you could click the link in the chat and just drop feedback while we are on this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Osaz. Okay. It seems like uh there are no more questions or add-ons. So officially the session is over. So we can start recording, and we can just get to know ourselves here. Uh Osaz, please, can you stop recording?